Me Sobo. I saw what you wrote. I will educate you now. That's why this program is available. Some of the lies that your people have been passing, although I've educated the minds of some of your people in our last the program, I had to give the history of Ologbo. After I did that program, your people went to look at the program and went to use my historical facts to furtherly enhance the lies of Ikaye. Otherwise, it was too watery before. Before now, your people never knew the name of the Oba that was on the throne when the Benin Akure war happened. Your people referred to the king of Akure as Oba of Akure, where I corrected 2 weeks ago that is not Oba of Akure, it's Deji of Akure. And it is in the same program we had to say the name of that Deji is Arakali. These were the informations that your people used to enhance. And I saw the new Ikaye story. It was word for word everything that I said, only that you people now find a way of putting Ikaye. But you know how it is. As an historian, the only difference between you and me and some of you is that you people are not historian, just some baby social media pundits. So you don't know how to write historical facts. So that's why when an historian, a very good one, sees an article, he looks at it and says, this is a juvenile, this is a work of someone who doesn't even know what he or she is writing. So even with everything you guys have wrote, I still will pinpoint a lot of errors. But today, I'm not going to come out on air to tell you that the Benins are going to pay you guys for violence and all that. I'm not. If I'm strategizing for a violent attack, I'm not going to say that on social media. I'm not a violent person by nature. I'm just an historian who tries to enlighten. When I see people who ordinarily were called our own at one point in time go beyond their limits, try to want to, because of the recent domicile nature of the Benin people, try to take advantage of us. I try to pinpoint those historical errors. My job is to ensure that you people are educated enough, the Benin people are educated enough, guided enough historically, so that they can continually pass the information from their children to their children, so that it doesn't have to be in the next 100 years where people will not have to accept the lies of the Shekiri that they actually own Ologbo. So they don't own Ologbo. In short, the man Kaye is a concocted name. That man, I'm sure, it never existed. If he existed, maybe he was just a native doctor in one of the communities in Warri, a non-popular native doctor in one of the communities in Warri. So I'll prove that. Now, the Benin and the Akure wall is well documented by 3 historians of Benin extract. First, by Jacob Wade Araras in the 30s. Secondly, by Eyari in the 70s. And thirdly, by Dr. Naisen, my mentor, Dr. Naisen Hagosha, in the 20th century. So these are 3 Benin notable historians of great magnitude that documented this Benin Akure War of 1818. I would like to challenge any Shekiri man on live, on this live video. They should show one book, where it was documented, written by any Shekiri historian, that Ikaye actually existed. Or is it a myth? No wonder. We greet. But today I'm not going to dwell on the Kaye story. The Kaye story, the man Kaye never existed. Now, the Benin Akure War of the 1818, during the reign of Oba 7 there, in our last 2 classes, I had mentioned that when any Oba ascended the throne, Oba 7 there ascended the throne in 1816, I even went to give an historical background of how difficult it was for him to ascend the throne, because his younger brother Ogbebo had ascended the throne. It was with the help of his uncle Ezomo Erebo that now helped young Prince Erediawa to become the Oba in 1816. That event that culminated in Oba 7, Prince Erediawa eventually coming to sit on the throne of his forefathers, and rightly so. We refer to the 1860 coup d'etat, because he has to fight for his throne that was usurped by his younger brother. After which 2 years, it takes about 2 years for every Oba to settle. After he has settled, what is expected customarily is that once an Oba of Benin ascends the throne, there is what we call Osorwe, the chalk of good tidings that the Oba sends to every of his vassals, the dukes, the kingdom under his empire. He sent this the chalk of good tidings to remind them of their obedience, of their absolute loyalty to his reign. He had sent one of the chief called Chief Osagwe. Eventually, through jealousy and all that, the Deji of Akure killed Chief Osagwe. That led to the war in 1818, the Benin Akure War. So the Shekiris came out and said that they were almost defeating the Benin. Are you guys stupid? Are you guys normal? Have you heard in any history that Benins were defeated in war until 1897? Sumo Akure. Now, the funny aspect of that war is that the Benins did not physically wage war with the Akure. About 6 kilometers to the Akure town, we use assault, just like what the British did to us about 70, that would be around 71 years later. That's 69 to 71 years later. Exactly what the British did to the Ugoton front. They didn't. It was not a physical war. It was not a gun to gun or spear to spear and arrow to arrow. It was a complete assault. The Benins did not get to Akure. About 6 kilometers to Akure town, we had already released some ballistic missiles that sent the Akure town into turmoil, that led the Deji of Akure to flee. Now, the beauty of this is that when he fled, he ran first to Ado Ekiti. So, there are comparisons. If the Shekiris are saying that it was through them, it was through Ikaye that we won that war, then bring any Shekiri notable historian, set a day, let us go on an historical expedition, because the Benin recorded, and rightly so, also archived in the palace of Ewi of Ado Ekiti, how Deji of Akure Arakeli in 1818 fled to Ewi of Ado Ekiti, in which Ewi of Ado Ekiti rejected him because however Aisho Kwedo, he now ran, that king ran from Ado Ekiti to a place called Uju. Then from Uju, he now ran to a place called Uhen. Uhen is present-day Ondo State. When you get there, the king of Uhen is called Arinjale. Arinjale captured Arakale, the king, the Deji of Akure, and returned him back to the head of the military expedition of the Benin forces called Ezomo Erebo, and there he was beheaded. In all of this story, there was no any let me not use the word fucking, I'm just pissed. There was no any such anonymous or mythological or imaginary Ikaye in that story. So how did the Shekiri get an Ikaye that they said without him the Benins would have been defeated, or the Benins were already defeated, according to what they are saying, that the Benins were already defeated, that it's only Ikaye that came to rescue us? And this guy's bloody stupid, because Anna Kyobore na again. So these people, well, I'm not interested in the dispute. People should not tie Izoduwa to whatever dispute that is going on in Ologbo. It doesn't concern me. Oh, sorry, it concerns me as an Edoma. But what is most paramount to me, or what I'm trying to address, is the lie, the historical lie that the Shekiris are trying to portray, that they own there historically. That's what I'm trying to educate them of. That there is no such person as Ikaye. Now, what I want to address today is not that Ikaye non-existent whatever. It's not that one. That one is not even my interest. What I want to address, they started passing an information in the past few days now that Obaire signed a paper bequeathing the land to Ologbo. That is the most stupid accusation. After they have lied of the Ikaye, they are now brought another one. First, it's good when you guys come out to lie. It's also good when you have people like me. The first thing I want to let my Shekiri friends, I cannot at this very point in time, because they are pissing me off, I can no longer address them as my brother. Right now, pardon me, I will address them right now as my Shekiri friends. One thing I want to let some of the Shekiri friends around this platform to know is that the Benins have too much robust history that is incomparable to every other history in the present day Nigeria. So Ishekiri as an ethnic group is too small to start to lie or try to find a way of twisting our history to suit themselves. So that is why I will come out at every time available whenever they put on any lie. All right, but there's a topic I wanted to address, which I promised I was going to say, but because I'd received some calls from some people that I respect so much, I decided not to talk about that. Because I wanted to educate the Shekiri people why there was no Ologbo for 88 years. For 88 years. I want to tell them, if they are not aware, if they had not told them, if their elders had not told them why Shekiri had no king for 88 years. I want to educate them. And when I'm educating them, I will tell them, I will reference them to go and look for social book documented by historians these historians are not Benin. They are not Benin. So it couldn't have been that Benin lied. It was never recorded by the Benins. So I would have, because Ologbo is a Benin man, so he's a proud Benin descendant, and this present Ologbo is an amazing father. Ogiamenshuo is an amazing father that I respect so much. Otherwise, the way these guys are trying to push me after giving them so hot, one imbecile had the temerity to say that they should call the Oba of Benin to order, a bloody Shekiri person saying that. But because we try to delineate the Shekiris that are Benin and the Shekiris that are not Benin, so that is why, and for the fact that there are Benins amongst the Shekiri, that's why I'm trying to be very careful. Otherwise, I would have put them in their place right now, and it would have been very hot on their head. So, but for the sake of the Benins that are now integrated into a Shekiri, if the Ishekiri wanted to be, they are the Okere people of Wari, they are proud Benin people, but today they are integrated as the Shekiri people, the Okere people. Obviously, they know the story. If you Benede, how Obalo eventually sent some armies to go and bring back Jinwa, our son, and eventually they didn't return back, and they now formed a community now called Okere people, proud Benin. But the Okere people has been integrated into a Shekiri. Why hasn't the Shekiri in Ologbo been integrated as Benin people? If they call ourselves one, now they have caused a niche for themselves. The Benins amongst the Shekiri did not create a niche for themselves, but rather they are being integrated as a greater Shekiri. If the Shekiri says that we are related, why are the Shekiri people in Ologbo not fully integrated as Benin people? These are some of the questions that we must ask, so that all right, let's go further. Let me address what they have been putting online. They say that Obaire, they have signed a document bequeathing the Ologbo land to them. Listen, Ivedo Nuzomo, Please listen, because I heard some Benin people call me and said that why are we fighting the Shekiri when they have already given us, when the Obarede already gave them the land and all that they had. So I want to educate you people so that you listen, so that you don't be carried away by their lies. Listen. That I said, Sobo, first and foremost, let me first of all educate you. At the time of that history in 1818, you people were not, you were a dukedom. I quoted from a book written by Renaud. You were a dukedom under the sovereignty of the Benin people. So first and foremost, if there was an Ikaye actually fought for his king, the Oba of Benin, the overlord. The Oba of Benin is an overlord over you at that time of history. In old maps of 15th, 16th, 17th century, you people were also classified as Benin people. Anyway, let me not educate your ignorant mind. The Kaya doesn't exist. First, let me buzz your bubble now. They said Obarede bequeathed the land in 1978. That's what they said. The first lie is, listen, if you do what down, the first lie is there was no Obarede in 1978. That's the first lie. The first lie is that they said that there was a document that Obarede signed bequeathing the Ologbo as a property, as a land of the Shekiri people. Listen very well. They said in 1978. You know, these people, I'm not sure. They are all talks. All these Shekiri in Ologbo, they want to be out. They are touts and talks. That means in 1978 there was no Obarede. Crown Prince Solomon Aishiokwoba Akenzwa became the Oba of Benin March 1979. First, that is the first lie that we must bust today. So there was nothing like Obarede in 1978. I corrected them today when I said there was no Obarede in 1978. It was Crown Prince. He only came as the Oba in 1970. Then I said he signed the document as a Crown Prince when he was in Selu. First, listen. There is, as the Daiken, he does not have the traditional power to give a land to anybody as an Edaiken. Not until he ascends the throne. As an Edaiken, someone presides over Ogbe. He's an overlord of Uselu, and that's where his jurisdiction remains. So, if you are ignorant of the Benin history, of the Benin traditions and culture, does not mean the Benin people are also likewise ignorant. As a Daiken, because first they said it was in 1978 Obarede, then I proved them wrong. That in 1978 there was no such like Obarede. Obarede was a crown prince because Otodari Orue in the early 1978. Otodari Orue, so he was just a crown prince, and the crown prince. They not changed their mouth again. You know, they're always lying. They not quickly changed their mind that it was when he was in Oselu as a crown prince. Let me not tell you now, people, that as a crown prince, he does not have that traditional right to bequeath any land in his kingdom to anybody, because at that time he's not the Oba. There's someone who presides over Ogbe. He is not the overlord of Oselu, and it ends there. Doesn't go beyond, and not even the entire Oselu, as the case may be, is lower Oselu. So how did he now sign that article, that document that was given to them in 1978? Now, should in case there is a possibility that Crown Prince Solomon Aishiokwoba Akenzwa actually signed that document, don't forget they have said that it was Osemende that gave them that land. If it was truly that Osemende that gave them that land in the 19th century, so they don't really need a document that would have been signed over 100 years later by probably the great grand child. Let's count now. Oboram Obiaweka, child, Akenzo and grandchild, Eredawa great grandchild, that it will have been great grandchild. Obaredawa is not the great grandchild of Oba Sevende. So that's over 100 years. So the land they said that Oba Sevende gave to Ikaye for the deed for what he did for the Benin people. Almost 120 years earlier, or almost 200 years. It's almost 200 years, because the centenary of 1897 was over 200 years ago. That was given to them by 7. They needed to not be reaffirmed about 170 years later. So it is suspicious. Now, I'm putting facts on bear that Oto no ba 7 there money di Kaye 170 years later or Baredawa Crown Prince. So it is not Baredawa because I said the 1978 so Omao Baredawa at that time, so that means it was Crown Prince Osifo. Sorry, I said Crown Prince Osifo. Crown Prince Solomon Aishokoba that I gave them the land in 1978. I've already given two possibilities why he couldn't have been able to. First, as a crown prince, he does not have that traditional or that traditional right to bequeath any land because he's not the Oba yet. And they said he gave them the land. They said it was Oba Area in 1978. Secondly, there was no Oba in 1978. Or Oba Crown Prince Solomon was not the Oba in 1978 until March. Was it March 20? I think March 21st or so. Was it March 21st? I think it was crowned March 21st, 1979. No, you are not supposed to. If you want to learn Sobo, go to my 2 classes ago. Go to my 2 classes ago on this platform so that you can go and learn history, so that you know whether there was an history. I completely gave about 45 minutes rundown of what happened on that history. But we are talking about the document that you guys said by radio gave. That's first. Third fact why it was not possible that by radio or Crown Prince Solomon gave them that paper. Now, the Land Use Act was promulgated March 29, 1978. The Land Use Act. The Land Use Act was promulgated March 29, 1978. So before, that is why if you are into lands, I'm into lands. In case you don't know, that's why if you're into land, all the land documents you will see that was signed, that was given to anybody, was signed by Oba Akenzwa II, and none of them was ever, any land document was ever signed by Oba Eredia, because by the time Oba Eredia had ascended the throne, the Land Use Act was already effected March 29, 1978. It is an act where the ownership rights of traditional rulers were confiscated, were removed, and given to state governors. So how did Oba Eredia, Crown Prince Solomon Aishokoba, sign a document in 1978 to the Shekiri people? So these are questions that they must answer. So lying to some of us, we just latch through their lies. We just latch through their lies. So they should show us. At the time he became the Oba in 1979, he no longer had the power as the Oba. First, because of the Land Use Act, because the power was confiscated by traditional rulers March 29, 1978, and given, we call it the Land Use Act of 1978, that was not given to the governors. It's everywhere. You can go and read, in case you guys don't read. So how did Oba Eredia, at first had established he wasn't even Oba in 1978, who now signed the paper that they are saying that there's a document that shows that Oba Eredia signed the paper in 1978 and gave to them, that they are not saying that they own Ologbo. Ologbo Buwawa, why is Zagawagmo? Idiot fellows. If you don't take your literacy to to this platform. Otherwise, I'll keep knocking you guys on the head and educating you people why you should. Oh, sorry, I'm drinking red wine. It's Sunday. It's Sunday. Anyway, cheers to all my Benin people. Whatever coronavirus that is going on will not get to us. So the world is trying to contend with more important issues. These nonchalant, non-important troublemakers. What's his name again? That tout called Chief Johnson. It's not giving us problem in our own land. So, what was it? What was it? According to medical experts, red wine is good for the heart. So it's good to take red wine once in a while. So patient. So that's the issue. So we must continually bring historical facts to accentuate truth, so that they should stop telling us that completely badadash. Kaye never existed. Kaye never existed. Oh, from Italy. Until Mr. Joshua, please be safe. You guys don't step out. Just be indoor. The plague will pass us by, and no Benin person, all Edo persons, by the power of God and our ancestors, no deaths will get us wherever we are located all over the world from this plague or pandemic, corona. So no, the funny aspect of the whole thing, yes, we have to exercise page. We have to back it up so that people should not say that we drink alcohol. This red wine is good for the heart. And I'm putting on red today. I also need to drink red wine. Now, the truth is, the funny aspect of these Ishekiri people that are now making mouth on social media is that this is a population of people that is less than 300,000. Less than 300,000. They are not saying that they will finish Benin that have population of more than 4 million. It is. I don't want it to be like a face-off between the Benins and the Shekiri. It is a face-off between some very misguided Shekiris and Benis. And one would tell them, that we are not saying leave Ologbo. We are not even interested in Ologbo issue. We're not even interested in Edom. But we're always saying that respect the owner of the land. That's the only thing Benins have always requested for. That's what the Benins have always requested for. Alright? So that we can now you work by Okokomo. Like, let's add you people. You know, why would I be my essay? No, nah, it's not good. It's not good. It's not good. Please, if they come out on social media, that's why I came to tell you that there was a paper, a document that was signed by Bayere Diawa in 1978. Then ask them these 4 questions. That's why I came online to educate our people. Ask them these 4 questions. First, in 1978, there was no Bayere Diawa. Obaredia was crowned March 1979. That's the first lie. Secondly, if it was the Crown Prince Aishokoba Solomon Akenzwa that actually signed, that they say signed it, it would have been wrong, because as a Crown Prince, his jurisdiction at that time does not go beyond Lower Oselu, not even the entire Oselu. So he does not have the right, the authority as a Crown Prince at that time, who is not yet the Oba, to bequeath any land to anybody. That's lie number 2. Lie number 3, at that time they had said there was already a promulgated Land Use Act, promulgated March 29, 1978, that removed the authority from traditional rulers to preside over sales of land or over land to the governors. So that is why in all land documents in Bendel, you will always see His Royal Highness, at that time, His Royal Majesty, Oba Akenzwa II. You will never see any land document that carries Obaredia, because at the time Obaredia had ascended the throne, there was already a Land Use Act. So no, I'm Cornish Mankpi. I'm not from the Royal Palace. I'm not a chief. I'm a Benin man, a very proud Benin man. I'm not a chief. I'm not related to the palace. I'm just a patriotic Benin man who will fight with his last blood for his people, speaking the truth at all times, most especially when people start to lie historically. When people start to lie historically. So I just come out and I will bust their bubble at all times. Let them come out. Let the Shekiri people come out tomorrow. Let them lie another lie. Then after they have lied, they should wait for me for next Sunday, the coming Sunday, for me to bust their own lie. So whenever they want to lie on social media, first they should ensure that that lie do not get to me. Secondly, they should be rest assured. They should lie well. They should sit down, do research, a comported lie. Because at the end of the day, I'm still going to come and bust their bubble. That's the only thing I can offer. I cannot carry gun. I am not violent. That's the only thing I can offer. Busting the bubble of our so-called neighbors that we once called brothers, that have gone behind us. All throughout 2019, 2018, I dealt explicitly with Yorubas. 2020 now, Igbos are getting on my nerves. I'll find a way to start dealing with them. Then Ishekiri is now brought to their own wahala. And let them go and daughter it, my brother. Yeah, daughter le. Are they here? We are waiting for them. We'll tell them that when it comes to his keeping of such documents, we have all of it. Let them go and lie. Let them go and forge. That is a document. Document by who? I told you. Lying is very easy, but defending the lie becomes a problem. Come out and defend it now. Let me see you people. Tell us how you can. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I've completely done justice. We've seen the videos where the Enogi of Ologbo came out and he gave his own side of the story, and how completely partial the so-called Nigeria police are. We know that that institution is dead. It's almost dead. They are probably the worst institution in the entire world. How they partial, probably the tout called the Yashe of Warri went to give them some few thousands or millions. So they eventually had the Boezo, and the Boezo then I change it and use it to support to favor Chief Johnson. Let me know how Chief to his name, Johnson. Let me just, since he's an older person, let me just add Mr. Johnson. to his name. Let me just add Mr. Based on, as Benin, we are very respectful to our elders. So let me just add Mr. Johnson. Let me remove the chief. He doesn't deserve to be addressed as a chief. So because Mr. Johnson was able to give them some naira, then they not turned the entire case because he's a young lad. But I can assure you, the entire Benin, we're going to lobby around him, because a blow to one is a blow to all. For the fact that I'm not from Ologbo, that does not mean that as a Benin man should be concerned that one of our numerous Benin communities is being ransacked by foreigners. I will address them now as foreigner. As foreigners in our lands. So I'm not arguing here. And small, only one glass I did take since. Make gonna allow me enjoy my life. This life now one not be two. Only one glass. I never even finish and shit. If I come, I'm sipping it gently. So we want to bribe them. Anyway, science. So, ladies and gentlemen, according to the title of today's program, I said I was going to address two issues. I've addressed their line. Then let me go further. I will not stop. What's his name? Shola JP. See, I've received threats, countless of threats on my life. I've told my God and I've told my ancestors that let me be found wanting if everything, whenever I come online, is because of lie. I cannot sit as a Benin man to watch Yorubas, Ijos, now Ishekiris, the people that we felt that was close to us. Now Ishekiris, to be arrogating history that are not theirs. Then I will not fold my hand. Then I will not be. Are you? Is it that you are Yoruba, or you are Ishekiri? That I will not be clapping my hand and not be sharing them up for completely denigrating the history and my people. If other Benins are not ready to speak, then but I'm an exception. I will continually come out and speak on issues. It's the only weapon I have. I don't have money. I'm not violent. The only weapon I have is the knowledge that God and our ancestors gave to me for me to fight historically for my people. And you cannot take that away from me. So even if bring Igbo, obviously, they'll soon start receiving their own daily, weekly lashing. If they don't stop dragging some of these Benin descendant territories into their imaginary Biafra, so they'll soon receive their lashing. So any ethnic groups will not be spared. Any ethnic groups that continually try to denigrate Benin will not be spared. Yeah, what have you any? Yeah, what have you any? Yes, my brother, they can go ahead and forge that document. We are waiting for them. Let them forge it. Let them put it on social media. Let them forge it. Because obviously now they are not like they are where they came from. When you have a bloody Yoruba, so you go to women if you Yoruba to.